What is going on, everybody? Welcome into the 113th edition of the Tuesday Track Talk podcast, featuring your Three Stones pit crew. I'm your gas man, Cam,
I'm your Jack man, Cal.
I'm your tire changer Cam.
and we've got a first annual on the docket for today. We've got our first annual awards show. So as we turn the page for our first episode of 2026. We're going to do a year in review and hand out some racing awards from 2025. So, for all in attendance, thank you for being here for the 2025 awards show. Greatly appreciate it. And it's going to be a fun one. So, first rendition. And again, it's our first time hosting the awards show. So, we look forward to only making this thing bigger and better in the future. So, but before we get into the awards show, I got to talk to my other co-host. How we doing, guys?
Good. I mean, the weather is honestly pretty good. We can't complain about it being the middle of January. I shouldn't say the middle. It's the 4th of January here, and I mean, it really hasn't snowed. It's calm. It's clear. So we can't really complain about the weather.
Well, I got all your snow. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, we didn't get nothing, so we're good.
Um, Packers played terrible today. As we record here on a Sunday.
That was like our D team, F team. I don't know.
I currently have the Bears game on to my right hand side here because that's got some implications as far as who might play in the playoffs, first round at least. So,
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's that, and we're just watching cars getting tossed from races left and right.
oh brother,
It's day one of the Asphalt Super Late Model season, and the Pro Late winner and the Super Late Model winner at New Smyrna got tossed.
yep. There was a mini stock at Dillon Motor Speedway that got tossed, and then last night in the Tulsa Shootout, one of the cars got tossed as well.
So, if this is any sign of what's to come, buckle up.
We've got as many DQs as we've had days on the year so far.
Oh, we got more disqualifications than we do race days at this point into 2026.
Oh man.
I don't know. But I guess before we kind of get diving into this, for those of you that are just listening, if you want to see everything visually, if you're a visual person, YouTube will be the place to find this because there is going to be slideshows and graphics and all the good stuff to go with this actual episode for the week. So if you're a visual person, YouTube will be your place to check this out. So,
well, we'll do our best to talk our way through this as well.
Yeah, for sure. And we're not just gonna spit you an award, 3 names, and here you go. Here's the winner. We're gonna conversate a little bit about why said individuals are a part of these conversations. So we'll fill you in as we go, but I just promise if there's something you're like missing, it might have to be a visual thing to a certain degree. So just bear with us on that one.
And let's preface too, as I mentioned, this is the first annual award show. So I don't want to say it's a trial run, but this is again our first one. So
this isn't going to be a Golden Globes-esque type of award show.
It's going to be just a tick below that. And again, like I said, this is our first go at it. And as we're preparing this, we already got some ideas of just, we watch a lot of racing. So as we've been brainstorming stuff to come up with who gets what, we're already learning, we're going to do a better job tracking in 2026.
Data is your friend.
Correct. With the sheer amount of racing we watch, you would think that you could be able to just rip a topic or an award right off the top of your head, but
no,
it's not that easy. And I could say one might get a little paralysis by analysis as we were trying to come up with this. So again, we hope you enjoy the awards show. Give us a little bit of grace. We're doing our best, and let's dive right in. So starting off your 2025 awards show here, let's for anybody of our watchers on YouTube. Give me a thumbs up if you guys can all see the screen. Everybody in attendance, perfect for the millions watching. Um,
Uh-huh.
let's dive right in here. So we got the 2025 awards show featuring the Three Stones Pit Crew Productions, your ultimate racing source. So let's dive right in here to our first award.
All right. So some of these are not the funnest, but at some point with the nature of racing, somebody's going to have some bad luck, and unfortunately, that's where the first one comes into play. This would be your hard luck driver team of the year, if you want to call it said so. And we've got 4 nominees for this one, and we're going to kind of tag team these as we go through these. Your first nominee, we've got Jeff Storm, who I think, what did they change? 5 motors this year?
Yeah, it seemed like every week they were changing
Oh,
the motor.
you couldn't catch a break with them guys having motor troubles, and it felt like every week it was not finishing because of motor or brakes or some type of mechanical issue that just, man, you just would like to see him finish the race because he is quick when he shows up. So that is our first one for this category. And then the second one, I'll shoot across to the 8 car Kyle Busch. It just seemed like anytime he got close to the front, it was just like racing God said, "No, it's over." Have put together a decent run, would wreck, would put together a decent run, would have a flat, would put together a decent run, would get run over. It was just the guy couldn't catch a break.
Yeah.
So those are the first 2.
He couldn't even catch a break in practice sometimes this year.
Yeah. Uh, what our next nominee here, Ryan Farrell. You could almost copy and paste Jeff Storm's situation and give it to Ryan as well. Fighting motor problems all year, especially he was going through oil like no other at one point in time. He had one of the belts on it that finally figured it out. Started coming on towards the end of the year, but that was a trying middle part of the summer for Ryan. So, like I said, copy and paste with Jeff, and he unfortunately makes his way onto the list here as well.
Yep. And I think the last one, when you look at it again, this one really was not even by his doing, and I think this could be a category of its own to a certain degree. Would be Tyler Courtney, Sunshine. Obviously missed the remainder of the year following that nasty, nasty crash at Eldora. So,
Yep.
Wrong place at the wrong time, ended his season prematurely. So obviously, he'll be set on kill looking ahead to 2026, being he missed a large portion of 2025.
Yep.
So there are 4 nominees for the first one. I'm going to go ahead and give her a click. Oh, and it froze.
Did it?
Oh, there it goes.
There she went.
Yep. Hard luck, bad luck, driver of the year, Jeff Storm. So, God, hopefully he can have a better year. Just
Yep. And then his
bases.
and with his live recordings or live streams from the shop every once in a while, gets himself a win. I can only imagine what that's going to look like in the shop.
Yep. So that's the first one of the year.
All right. So next one here that we're coming up here, comeback driver of the year. For those watching, obviously we only got 2 of them on here. First one, Casey Johnson took the entire year off or had a partial schedule last year after dealing with some health issues. Came back full time this year and didn't lose any of the touch that he had. Goes out and wins the Midwest Tour and the Alive for 5 championship. Wins 2 of the 3 big ones that run up here. Came short on the Tundra Series, but showed that he was just as dominant as ever, and he didn't lose his touch.
Yep. Second one being Billy Moyer Sr. He kind of returns to dirt late model racing full time, essentially, for the first time in a while. And he won 3 races. He ran well. He had a couple wicked wrecks, but for him to be out of the seat and to get caught up on the technology that have gone into these cars and the aero and all of it that's gone into the dirt super late model racing scene, that he found himself in victory lane, and just winning a race in a dirt super is an accomplishment in itself. So he finds himself in the comeback of the year for 2025.
Yeah. And our winner of comeback of the driver of the year is
Yep, of
Casey Johnson.
course. Hell
So
yeah.
again, just didn't lose his touch, came back and dominated like he's always done.
And
Hmm.
I was going to say, I think about the only thing that went bad for him in 2025 was the snowball derby there, last
Yeah.
one of the year. Outside
Yeah.
of that, it's, you put him in the category with the 91 machine. When that 5 car rolls into the track, um, you immediately know that's a car you're going to have to beat if you want to win the race.
Yep.
And so, yeah, felt like he was pretty much untouchable most of the year. Had a solid run. Was that at the even at Cletus's race there, Thanksgiving weekend too. Um,
Yeah.
Yep.
so felt like anything he could do, felt like he could do no wrong most of the year until that last race of the year, Snowball Derby, which we've talked about, toughest race to make and get into. So um, big things ahead for him in 2026.
Absolutely. Next category here, surprise campaign of the year. If it wants to keep going,
It's thinking about it. Yep.
it's thinking about it. Surprise
I'm
campaign.
just know it's immediate on my end, so it must be just a little like you guys just must be a
It's like,
few
Cam,
seconds
move your
behind.
mouse once. There it went.
There it went.
Yep. Okay. Surprise campaign of the year. We got a ton of them here. Starting out, Grant Griesbach. Both in the super late and the truck. Kind of hitting on the super late. Heck of a year at WIR. Won plenty of races. Believe won the track championship there as well.
And
Um,
red, white, and blue.
yep. And he raced at Slinger all year and ran very good there. And then the truck, him and Brandon Reichenberger with a hell of a championship battle there at the end of the year. Nabbed a couple wins for himself as well. So just overall, it didn't matter which one he was in. He had a heck of a year.
Yeah, for sure. I think jumping down to the dirt late model side of the thing, somebody that kind of caught everyone by surprise with the way he ran, and kind of a smaller team, but really well taken care of in terms of running with the World of Outlaws. That would be Tim McCready. Um, won some races. He definitely came on mid to late year. Once they kind of found their strides in terms of there was a chassis change in there and just kind of getting situated with what Tim needed in the car. He came on late in the year, and I would expect him to be very competitive in 2026.
Yep.
I
So
can take this next one. I don't know if I'm supposed to or not, but we talked to him. We talked about him a fair share. If you go right on a NASCAR in a NASCAR race, he's going to win the race. Um, that is Shane Van Gisbergen. Um, yeah, it feels like he just can't quite figure out an oval. But um, I mean, going into 2026, I mean, if he can figure out the ovals, because now it feels like any road course, um, signed, sealed, and delivered, something out of his control is going to have to happen for him to lose a road course moving forward. Um, Sheer dominance, I think you could put it on road courses, and first year full time, puts himself in the playoffs, and by golly, still just couldn't figure out an oval to get him to the second round, which would have got him to a road course. But um, I I want to say we were not surprised at this, but also surprised at how dominant he was and being able to
Fig-
win as many times as he did
yeah.
in his first full time year.
Figured he'd be good, if not great. Didn't expect him to be dominant.
Correct. So, third nominee there is Shane Van Gisbergen.
I'll take this next one here. I gotta throw the Wisconsin boy in there, Bill Baylog. Sophomore season with the World Outlaws full time this year. comes out swinging really early in the year. I believe it was third race of the year. Goes out and wins at the Talladega short track, and then has himself probably one of his better weekends, if not best weekend, down at Huset's, winning one of the features there and finishing no worse than I believe fifth in any of the features down in Huset's that weekend. For a small team program like that with him, just himself and Dennis Gregg as full-time crew guys, when you see a guy like him do big at Huset's, that's a heck of a year. Three total wins on the year, seventh in the point standings. Um, Heck of a sophomore season coming in for Bale Balog.
Last one for the category. And when we talked about it, it was going to be a matter of if, or not if, when, and that was going to be winning the Lucas Oil Championship for Devin Moran. It was. He's been a guy that's been around and he's been competitive. The last couple of years, he's made that Final Four with the Lucas Oil playoff format, and he's given himself a chance, and he's been in the conversation for a couple of years now. So again, like we said, it was just going to be a matter of time. But he comes out on top, taking home the Lucas Oil Championship. So just kind of capped off a season on a strong note, and really, he was competitive anywhere that series went, and you knew the 99 was going to be tough to beat. But yeah, just surprised it came this year, I think, in terms of the title. But like we said, we knew it was just going to be a matter of time and not a matter of if for Devin Moran and the whole Double Down Motorsports camp. So that wraps up your nominees for Surprise Campaign of the Year.
Yeah, and your winner for that one is move your mouse again there, Cam. Maybe. Still thinking. There it
Yeah,
went.
there you go.
Grant Griesbach. Again, being able to hop in both between the truck and the super late model, winning championships and fighting for championships all throughout the year. I mean, he came out of nowhere. He's been good, but he was great this year
Yep,
in both of them.
for sure.
I'll hop in here. This is going to be a you guys see it?
Yep.
Yep.
Perfect. This is could be a hot topic, and got as you can see for those lists or watching, um, all deserving. We've got the dominant campaign of the year, and I'll take this first one here. Starting none other than in the dirt super late model World Outlaw Gang, the old BP32, the smooth operator Bobby Pierce. Um, I don't have exact statistics here on wins. I want to say it was north of 30?
It was 38
Um,
that.
and again, love them or hate them, you got to beat them. And there isn't many people that can do that in the dirt super late model world right now. So um, just feels like another person that you know, along with another um, uh, potential recipient here, David Gravel, feels like the championship is his to beat or his to lose. Just him and his dad and that team, just they show up and they've got it. Feels like it's more of a surprise now when he shows up and he's not qualifying first, not starting front row features. He's the car to beat. So um, your first um, your first nominee is the 32 of Bobby Pierce.
I think I'll hop into this next one here, and I'll just head to the right on the screen here. Connor Zilic. First full-time year in the Xfinity Series with Junior Motorsports. And he goes out and has a dominant year. 9 wins in total on the year. I believe it was 4 or 5 in a row at one point in time. Um, Not very many races outside of the top 10. So again, just statistically a phenomenal year for Connor Zilic. Just comes up short of a championship. Um, which that sparked a whole championship conversation, but nonetheless showed that he could be dominant again, not only with his road course background, but on the ovals as well, and gets him promoted up into the Cup Series driving and Trackhouse team. So Connor Zilic, another nominee for dominant campaign of the year. I'll take this next one here. The aforementioned David Gravel. Phenomenal year for him. You knew he was going to be a threat to win the championship, but he just showed why. Now a back-to-back champion in the World Outlaws. He had, where is he at here? 18 wins with the roll or on the year, came the entire year. And again, came down to about 3 races to go, 4 races to go, where he clinched his championship. So you show up anywhere on the World Outlaw scene, and only 2 DNFs on the year, you know he's going to be a threat to contend with. So David Gravel, another nominee for Dominant Campaign of the Year.
Yeah, speaking of sprint cars, I'll jump down to the next one here. And this is a guy that we knew he was going to be figuring out the point racing thing or racing for a season championship, and that's being Rico Abreu. Following the world of, or the not the world of all those, yikes. Following a high limit, for his would be his sophomore campaign, racing for points. But Rico is just the guy that he's a driver that when you talk about him, he's a guy that if the car's not perfect or he's missing a little something behind the wheel, he can do what he needs to do to put that car in a spot to advance positions, but also bring that car home in one piece to be able to cross the line where he needs to be. And when you look at it, right, all the midweek series races, he had won a handful of them in a row at one point. But on top of that, winning the high limit season long championship battle, bringing home both of those titles, Rico is just when you're racing Brad Sweet every night, when you're racing Aaron Reitzel every night, when you're racing Tanner Thorson every night, you got to be on your best. And he talked a lot about ground clearance with the car, and that crew won both of those titles. And I think looking ahead to 2026 with the transition to Tony Stewart Racing, this guy is going to be somebody that will be able to win on any given night. So dominated this year, but I think 2026 might even be better.
I'll take this next one here. Again, another dominant year here. And I'll just read off some statistics here for it is the 11 machine safe light of the Corey Heim time. And just looking at some of his stats here, 25 races, 12 wins, 21 top tens, 19 top fives, 7 poles, 1,627 laps led, average start 4.16, average finish 5.04. And you want to talk about just dominant. I think we could argue this is the most dominant truck series or truck season we've seen. And the way the format is set up, it felt like it was one of those that if he lost it, there'd be even more rage that he didn't win it. So Corey Heim, dominant across the board. Again, he's winning just under 50% of the races, 25 races, 12 wins. So moral of the story, if you're going to win a truck race, you've got to be better than the 11 machine of Heim time. Still plans unknown for 2026, which is even more of a shocker, but nonetheless, dominant 2025 campaign, and he'll be good in whatever seat he's in 2026.
Yeah, he broke the late Greg Biffle's single season truck series win record.
Yep.
So that tells you one, how good Biffle was in the trucks, but now how really dominant Corey Heim was.
Yep. And I think that record's going to stand for a long time.
Yep.
Winning 12 races at 25, that's wicked.
Absolutely. Final nominee here, jumping to the IndyCar side, Alex Palou. This year's winning driver for the Indy 500. He won 9 races out of the 17 on their schedule, so just over half of their races as well, and wraps up what is now his 3rd IndyCar championship in his campaign. Again, that Chip Ganassi team, very, very strong team. He goes out and wins. It's always been good. Ovals were a little bit of a struggle for him, but winning the Indy 500 is a big plus for him as well. again, just a dominant season that ends up getting a championship for him as well. So Alex Palou, our final nominee for dominant campaign of the year.
And your 2025 Dominant Campaign of the Year award winner is the 24 machine of Rico Abreu. Can you guys give me a thumbs up when you guys see it?
Yeah.
Just so I know.
Yep.
Kellen touched on it here. Won both high limit series, and honestly, I think you got to put him at the front of the pack for 2026. I don't know if you
Oh
want to call it
yeah.
early contender.
Oh yeah.
It feels like honestly a match made in heaven with him and TSR. Just feels like TSR is going to be able to give him the resources he needs to go to the next level. And touched on it. He's been able to. He might not have the best car, but as good as he is, he can make up for it behind the wheel. And so felt like this is going to be Rico's at the top of his game right now. And now pairing him with Tony feels like TSR was no disrespect, but kind of was in the backseat there the last few years with Donnie Schatz. And so I feel like this will be a good pairing for Rico, who's top of his game, and Tony Stewart and that crew looking to make a resurgence to the top of sprint car racing. So Rico Abreu wins your 2025 Dominant Campaign of the Year.
All right, jumping to our Wheelman of the Year. I know we did this was a weekly award that we did that was kind of more focused on winners. Now we're going to focus just on pure Wheelman for this one. We got three nominees for this one. First one that I'm going to handle here is Corey Day. Whenever he hops into a sprint car or midget car, I mean, you want to talk about a guy that lives or dies by the high side. He just does things with those cars that are amazing, whether it's super close slide jobs in the corners, just rim riding the cushion, which has bit him a couple times, or just being able to trail a car going through the corners as well. I mean, it seems like every time he's in a car, he does something amazing. Recently, being down at Perth Motorplex down in Australia, went from what, 24th to second in one of the features down there,
Yep.
if I remember right. So again, absolute powerhouse behind the sprint car. Obviously, he'll be at Tulsa for the Chili Bowl here coming up in about a week. And recent signee to Hendrick Motorsports in the O'Reilly's Auto Parts team. So see if you could take those talents over there. So Corey Day, first candidate for Wheelman of the Year.
Jumping down to the asphalt late model side of things, when you look at the season that Donnie Wilson put together with Cole Butcher, ASA Stars National Tour champion, Southern Super Series champion, CRA Super Series champion, and a winner of a host of races, not only on the National Tour, the Southern Super Series, and along with kind of some of those one-off events. Cole Butcher put together quite a season that has been that Donnie Wilson 28 is going to be tough to beat no matter where they go. So when you look at the body of work that the 28 has put together, it's been they've been lurking, especially with this ASA Stars National Tour title. They've been lurking, but when you look at putting together those three titles all together in one season, that is a pretty cool deal that they put together with the Donnie Wilson camp.
Hey, another note I want to add real quick too is that it seemed like up for a good number of the races, he may start off kind of slow, may end up getting a lap down at one point in time, but they seem to always work their way back and get a very solid finish out of that race.
Yep, for sure.
You want me
So,
to take the last one?
Go for it.
yep.
And I'll take the last one here. Frequent flyer, I think you could say on the podcast. One of our favorite driver interviewers or conversations we have with them is Brandon Reichenberger. He is now a two-time back-to-back the defending Midwest Truck Series champion. Just was dominant all year. Back and forth with Grant Griesbach, wicked points battle. But when it came down to it, for the last race of the year at Dells Raceway Park, put your money where your mouth is, and he did just that. Be able to get that thing to the front and ultimately win the Truck Series championship. I feel like you could put him in the category of Mr. Consistent as well. Um, never never drives over his head. If he's got a third place truck, you can take it to the bank. He's probably going to finish third. If he's got a truck to win it, he'll win it. So another championship for him. Probably a little bit more stressful than he would have liked this year, but ultimately gets the job done and wins the championship here.
And your winner for the Wheelman of the Year is Corey Day. Again, just absolutely phenomenal behind the sprint car, picking and choosing the races that he chose to race this year, obviously with partial schedule in the Xfinity Series as well. Was up front for a ton of races, especially a lot of big ones. Again, just absolute threat behind the wheel, being able to charge through the pack and ride and race the racetrack.
I think one of my favorite Corey Day races of the year was, I think it was Eagle for the Tuesday night big race. It
Is
was
that when
a
he left the
Highland.
ballpark?
Yeah, he left the ballpark, but he was, dude,
Yeah.
he left it on the track. Kept
Mhm.
ripping the top. He would get to the back of Kofoid. I mean, they're racing for, I think, what that's a
50.
55,000,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and um, dude just left it all. Well, he actually left it outside of the track because he was driving the absolute piss out of that thing. Ultimately, Wall grabbed him, sent him outside the track, and forget the promo that he cut when he got out of the car, but something along the lines of he loves doing it and he'd do it all over again, but just hate that he smashed up the equipment. So um, again, uh, one of the up and comers and across motorsports, and I think we've chatted before. You could argue that might be the way Hendrick is working him and allowing him to do what he's doing. Feel like you could put him on the similar path to the old five machine of Kyle Larson. Feels like that we've got a similar path here for him. So um, fun to watch in whatever he's behind the wheel in.
Whoa.
Oh,
Sorry about that. You guys back?
we're
Yep.
back.
All right.
All right. Looking ahead to the next one we got here, this is kind of we call it the Cinderella story of the year. I know we got to figure out the lingo for this one, but you'll get the idea when we run through some of our nominees. I'll go ahead and jump on this first one. High Limit made their way up to the state of Wisconsin for the first time this year, and they had the routine race on it was a midweek show at 141. If you didn't get to see it, there was a guy by the name of Travis Aarons who ran that race. He's been up here running sprint cars, and he's had some races that he's known for being very competitive up in this part of the country. And they unloaded that 25 for that high limit show, and I don't think that crew was like, "Yeah, we're gonna win this baby." But when they did, he went for a swim.
Yep.
Won that race. If you haven't seen or known anything about 141, it's got the pond in the middle, and he jokingly said, "Winning that race, I guess I can pay for a new race suit after I just went for a swim." So, um, to just see the elation of such a small team run against the likes of Brad Sweet and Reitzel and Rico and all the big guys that do it full time, to see them win a national tour race, um, you can't help but just smile and be happy for that crew.
No, I was you can say he beat Bill Baylog and obviously the regulars for the high limit series as well. He dominated. He took the lead pretty early in that one and then just sailed off from there. So definitely a popular victory. And the Sky Boy stole one from the national guys,
Yep.
as I would say.
And I think you can put him, as love it or hate it. Uh, this could also be the underdog um, slide, but love it or hate it, we talk about it too. What happens when these national series shows up to a local track? And some people love that local guys can be, get out there and run these races. Some people hate it because, do they really have the equipment to run with a national tour guy? But this is an awesome story here of a guy that was able to take it to the big dogs, to say the least.
Yep. Next one here, Jeremy Lepak. He wins the Tundra race at Sands. Um, First win in that car since he bought it in 22. Um, and he rode the high side around Sands in order to get the win on that one. Justin Mondyke was in the lead for a lot of that lap for that race. He got up beside him, or not, sorry, not just Mondyke. Dalton Zier was up front for a lot of front of that one. And again, Lee Pack was just able to ride the high side and be able to run up front and take that win. Did it the hard way. Guy that's run good, been on a little bit of a struggle here as of recent, but was able to pull one off at Sands, and him and his crew were very, very enthusiastic about that one. Good to see some hard work pay off.
You know anything about Golden Sands? The outside sometimes can be non-existent.
Yep.
So, jumping on another sprint car driver, we've got Dale Blaney, who wins the World of Outlaw race at Sharon. That car is very notably searched on the internet in terms of the way he had that thing set up.
It's different.
Different is a good way to describe it. That top wing is goofy the way they have it set up, but I'll tell you what, the guy knew what he was up to. He ultimately goes on and wins that World of Outlaw race at Sharon. So, Dale Blaney just making sure that people know that the Duke can still wheel a race car and that everything he does is calculated.
Yep. Very similar to what his brother Dave Blaney did a number of years ago when they went to Sharon Speedway.
Yep.
Ended up winning that one as well. So the moral of the story is whenever the Wu gang comes into Sharon Speedway, if there's a Blaney racing, be on your toes.
Yep.
Final one here, hitting the Milwaukee Mile with Christian Rasmussen. Speaking of the high side, he did it on the high side, both in 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. Goals around Alex Palou and Scott McLaughlin to capture his first career win in the IndyCar series. Yeah, just incredible drive coming from mid pack after a pit cycle, being able to pick his way through and then ultimately take the win on that one. It was a heck of a drive through the field, and again, a guy that nobody really expected to be in contention for that one, ends up stealing it there in Milwaukee. So Christian Rasmussen, final nominee for Cinderella Story of the Year.
And your winner, I guess, of the Cinderella or underdog story of the year would be Travis Aarons with his win with the high limit at 141.
Yeah, again, I mean, you even heard it on the broadcast too. Um, Everybody was super excited for it. Nobody saw it coming, and boy, did High Limit really appreciate, I think, a local guy being able to come in and race with those guys.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll hop in here. Take the next one. Um, Behind every great driver is a great crew chief. And this year, we've got the Crew Chief of the Year award. And I guess I'll take this first one here. And the first one, when it comes to asphalt super late model racing, I don't know how else to describe him other than a legend. That is Toby Noodleman. Um, that old dog has got some tricks up his sleeve, to say the least. When him and that 91 crew or whoever's car he's working on. If you're a dirt super late model driver and you got to race against him, if you ever get the chance, I would crawl under a car he's working on, take some pictures. Because he's one of the best in the business. It, Obviously, most notably with his pairing with Majeski, those two are extremely tough to beat. But as he continues to work with some of his other drivers and other cars, feels like success finds them as well. So, Crew Chief of the Year nominee number one is Toby Noodleman.
Mind you, that car led 225 laps of the Snowball Derby.
Might make
200,
a couple appearances this year yet.
225 laps of the Snowball Derby. I'll let you think about that. Jumping ahead, talking on this on the same side of the same format of race, and we had talked about it a little earlier in terms of the season they had strung together. Cole Butcher, behind Cole Butcher, you have Bon Suss, the crew chief for the 28 camp. Obviously, they put together a hell of a year in terms of winning races, winning crown jewels, winning three series titles. So obviously that camp is in good hands in terms of not only the driver but the guy calling the shots on the setup with those Donnie Wilson camp.
I'll take this next one here. Cody Jacobs, the man behind the machine for David Gravel. Like you mentioned earlier, behind every great driver and team has a great crew chief, and Cody Jacobs is one of the best when it comes to turning wrenches on a sprint car. Again, only two DNFs, I believe, on the entire year, maybe three, because I think he also wrecked when he wrecked at Charlotte. That was one for him. But nonetheless, that car was always finishing races and it was always doing well in those races as well. And that all comes down to a crew chief being diligent as far as maintenance on a car and being able to set up for what their driver needs. So Cody Jacobs, nominee for crew chief of the year.
And last but not least, if you're ever at a World Outlaw Dirt Super Late Model race, you won't miss this man. Always in the brightest pink you can find. That is Bob Pierce Sr. He is, again, him and his son. The pairing's tough to beat, to say the least. And Bob knows how to turn some wrenches, to say the least. That crew, again, we've touched on it earlier with Bobby. Wherever they go, they're going to be in contention for a win. And as good as Bobby is on the track, Pops off the track has got some knowledge up there too. So Bob Pierce is your last nominee.
Yeah, crew chief of what, 38 wins, I believe, on the year.
Yeah. And your 2025 Crew Chief of the Year award winner is Bob Pierce. Yeah, we've touched on it there. That the Pierce camp, it doesn't matter where they show up. They're in contention. Lucas Oil, World Outlaws. Heck, just recently they went to the Dome and found a way to take it to the field. And like I said, behind every great driver is a great crew chief. Father, obviously, this is a little bit even different relationship here, which can sometimes be good or bad. Little father-son duo. Wonder who gets to make the ultimate setup call. Who gets to make that final setup call when it's your dad working on the car. But yeah, if you ever go to World Outlaw Super Late Model Race, you won't miss him. Bob's about 6'4", 6'5". He's always got a bright pink shirt on, and he's got some bright pink mitts on. So if you're ever looking for the 2025 Crew Chief of the Year, look for a big stork in bright pink.
All right, so we're going to talk a little bit of interview of the year, and these are moments where drivers' colors can show, and their character comes out, and you learn a little bit about them as people, not just as drivers. And we've got 4 of them here for our interview of the year, and I think this is a wide array of emotions we have in this category, and I think this will be a kind of fun to talk about these and go through these. But the first one being. Cletus McFarland probably has potentially the largest YouTube channel, automotive YouTube channel, on the internet, and he started to venture out into some circle track stuff, and I think it comes back to his first race at Talladega, ripping around there, as he would said, screaming around Dega like a bald eagle when he zigged instead of zagged or zagged instead of zigged, whatever it was. And that was just, it's funny because it's so cool to see him be him, where we've talked a lot about guys being polished and answering the questions where they need to be answered, where he didn't do that. And he said, I am who I am and I'm staying true to my colors. And he let it all hang out. And I think that came as one of the most notable moments of you can't forget that being how excited he was, even though he had just gotten wrecked out. So um Garrett Mitchell or Cletus McFarland, as he goes by on the internet, is your interview nominee of the year number one.
I'll take this next one here. Hopping over to um, Dirt Super Late Model World. I forget what exactly track it was at, but um, Kay Dillard ultimately smashes up some equipment with Garrett Alberson, um, and needless to say, had some choice words after the race about Alberson. Again, don't not direct quote. Can't drive, drives over his head, and then I want to say there was something. If he ever gets near him, he'll wreck him. Any chance he gets going forward. Um, so not only do they smash up about a couple $100,000 of equipment, Dillard goes on mic, has some colorful choice words, and that interview of the year ultimately led him to a little bit of a vacation that led him to get suspended. So you got to be a nominee if your interview leads you to get suspended. So nominee number 2 goes to the 97 machine of Cade Dillard.
Batesville for the topless 100. That was, yep.
Yep.
Staying on the dirt super late model side of things, I think this next one it went from guys being pissed off to guys having a good time, and it was kind of like it was a Netflix miniseries going on in the infield with the killer Kyle Bronson and Hudson O'Neill. Those two guys are stuck in the infield at the dome during the race, and they're pissed off at other guys and their buddies, and they get to talking, and they interview Kyle, and then they interview Huddy, and then they interview Kyle, and they're back to Huddy, and they're both pissed off. And then the next thing you know, Bronson's got Hudson O'Neill up over his shoulder like WWE wrestling. And it was just funny to see how that whole thing transpired. They're just being pissed off. And all right, here's the microphone, talk. And they went back and forth and obviously made light of a situation, but both very frustrated about what had gone on at the Dome. So, nominee number 3.
Final nominee here for interview of the year. And this one is definitely a more recent one. The aforementioned Ty Majeski in that Snowball Derby after his DQ or black flag from the restart there on the final restart of the Snowball Derby. He parks it on the start finish line in obvious protest and goes on and makes his case basically why he didn't jump it, being the dominant car of the race. Then the later on in the text shed of his official protests and all the events that spurred out of that. So making his point known of parking on the start finish line, the first car in that line, as we've mentioned, after
Yep.
dominating that race. Again 225 of the 300 laps for the Snowball Derby. So your final nominee for interview of the year, Ty Majeski after the Snowball Derby.
Interview or social media moment of the year, however you want to look at it. Cleese McFarland out of Talladega. So, just cool to see the character come out and him just being himself. And I'm going to be who I am. And if you want to support me, great. If not, find someone else.
Yep.
So, good for him. Cool to see. That actually led to him getting into the broadcast booth. So he called the rest of the race from the broadcast booth after he had wrecked out. So
And he did it in like they let him up in the booth with like a John his I don't know if it is a John Deere hat, but it looks like a John Deere hat and his gray cutoff sleeve T-shirt. So
yep.
Yeah, needless to say, wherever Cleater goes, a bike should follow because something good is going to come of it.
Yep, for sure.
I'll hop in here and take this next one. Next one here we got this one, a lot of fun. Best appearing car of 2025, and I'll take this first one here. obviously this guy's got my heart, but JD's black and gold on, I think it's Watsui,
Watusi.
at Watusi, at Eldora. Obviously, it feels like JD's paint scheme. The more things stay the same, a slight tweak, you just don't think it can get any better. And just the solid black and gold, with a little sprinkle of silver in there. Um, Again, it's just clean, it's sharp, it pops, and it's good looking. So that's nominee number one, JD's black and gold.
I guess I'll take this next one. Ty Majeski, again, Snowball Derby. Um, Shortly after the announcement of him taking over Matt Crafton's ride in the Truck Series and taking over the Menards sponsorship, he goes and unveils the Menards sponsored Super Late model down at the Snowball Derby. That bright yellow is obviously not hard to miss. Um, that car ripping around the racetrack, and again, it had a hell of a debut for coming out along with that iRacing sponsorship that he's had for a number of years as well. So, Ty Majeski in that Menards car at Snowball Derby, nominee number two for the best bearing car, and I'll take this next one as well. Rico Abreu's Whiskey Myers sprint car. They race at Eldora for a Kings Royal weekend. Him and Whiskey Myers are very close, and he's a very big fan of Whiskey Myers. Whiskey Myers also being, I believe, their official band and in music for the Highland Series as well.
Yep.
Nice little collab there. I've got the diecast car sitting up on my shelf here that he made of that. And he had a decent weekend as well. He won one of the prelim races for the Kings Royal weekend. Came up short in the Kings Royal itself, but heck of a car and a pretty slick car for a special race. So Rico's Whiskey Myers car, another nominee.
Last one for the best appearing car, and this is another diecast that you've got on your shelf as well. So got you a little bit of pickle here, but it'd be Dan Ebert's Dick Trickle car. So when they went to the Dome, everyone kind of unveils something cool, something different than they usually run. And he's had family that has worked on Trickle's race cars, so he had a correlation to that. So when you looked at it, it was pretty cool to see that Trickle and Ebert, who usually runs the 60, even put the 99 on the car, and his sponsors were on there, but it was just themed, and it just was so fitting to be able to see that car look very much like Trickle's cars, gold cars did back in the day.
Yep.
Those are four.
And your 2025 best appearing car is, if I'm on the award, you got to know it's going to Jonathan Davenport. And again, like I said, that car, the more things stay the same, the better they get. When they change slightly, I should say, the more things stay the same, the more they get better. I don't know what the saying is. I don't know. Anyways, just the paint scheme in general, it's always the same, but a little bit of a color tweak from him. You don't think it can pop any more than what he usually has, but he seems to always find a way. So, little black, gold, and silver there. Really sharp car.
Jumping ahead of the next one, and this one, there's expectations. There's teams that are running for titles. There are drivers that have expectations for what goes on, and the struggle of the year is an interesting one because those expectations can be very high for said groups or said drivers or organizations. And we've got three nominees that struggled throughout the year in terms of what the expectations are. And when you're looking at this first one, I think, we talk about dirt super late model race, and Tyler Erb was one that chose not to follow a series middle of last year. This year was just going to go true outlaw and pick and choose. And he did win the National 100 to kind of finish or round out the season, but was just a guy that he struggled. I think he had 5 wins on the year, coming in during the Summer Nationals. But when you look at a guy that's picking and choosing where he wants to go run and where he's going to be most comfortable, I think that camp is wishing they could go back and do things a little differently. Looking on kind of how they ended up finishing the year.
I'm going to take this next one, and then I'll be right back. But I got to take a quick bathroom break after this next nominee. Um, so we're going to jump down to this isn't an individual, but this is a team. And um, don't worry, this isn't the last you'll see of them on the awards show. But and this isn't the first time you've heard us knock them on the podcast. I shouldn't say knock them, but it makes us scratch our brain, and that is colleague racing. Um, and I think that's been the theme of the year for them is just head scratching. Um, yeah, I guess I really don't know other how else to put it other than do they really know what they want and where they want to go? Um, because it felt like up until this point, well, now we know they want to go to the truck series, but up until this point, it's just I hate to break it to you, but Ty Dillon isn't. Ty Dillon just ain't going to get it done in the Cup Series. That I'm just going to say that. And so he was him, and then AJ Allmendinger is what he is, and then you can throw in their whole Xfinity program, and obviously with Josh Williams and him parting ways mid-year. Um, I don't think it was the year colleague wanted or expected, or I think any of us expected from colleague, and it just I don't know what else to say other than they struggled, and a lot of what they do just makes your head spin.
Yeah, and with their Xfinity program, kind of being their not flagship program by any means, but being strong contenders in the Xfinity series for years past. Not getting a win out of the Xfinity series is a tough blow, and then you go and shut that program down and transition to the trucks. Which whenever you do any kind of transition, that first year is never solid. You have very rare instances where you come out swinging in that first year after any kind of transition. So it'll be interesting to see what they do there. Final nominee for struggle of the year. We're gonna stay in the NASCAR side of things. Tyler Reddick in the Cup Series. After being a championship contender last year, you expected a lot of the same with him in that 23XI camp, and it just wasn't there. Wasn't due to Rex by any means. They only had one DNF on the year, but only 14 top 10s out of the 36 race season, only 7 top 5s. Did make it in the playoffs and ended up going into the round of 8 in the playoffs, but no wins on the year. And for a guy that, knew was going to be, thought was going to be a contender, just wasn't the year that camp was expecting. So Tyler Reddick, our last nominee for struggle of the year.
And I think he's the guy that the expectations are the one that really put him in this boat.
Yep.
And who's to say that entire team was dealing with some off the track stuff all year as well that had implications.
Yep.
But yeah, ultimately, that was surprising to see the struggle out of that camp. And your struggle of the year award goes to Colleague Racing. Again, I just don't have a lot of words for this other than head scratching. You touched on it, not getting an Xfinity win when that's the flagship of the program or of the team. Dinger in the Cup Series.
He was the road course guy until SVG showed up.
Yep.
And then, and then now 2026. Aren't they completely going on their own Cup Series? No.
Yep.
No RCR alliance.
That is correct.
So we'll see what that brings. Um, should be interesting.
All right. So with any season comes some massive wrecks. So we touched on one here a little bit. Um, and I guess I'll take the first nomination here for wreck of the year. These are never good ones, but they do happen in the racing world, and you just hope that they're not bad at that. But there are some nasty ones. The first one being the high limit wreck at Eldora during the Kings Royal weekend. Mentioned it earlier with our hard luck award with Tyler Courtney. He ended up getting injured out of this wreck, and I mean, it took a lot of guys got hurt in that high limit wreck. I think um, Aaron Reitzel broke his foot in that one. Obviously, the aforementioned Tyler Courtney broke his back in that one. Um, in a
Sweet.
later wreck,
Yeah.
Brad Sweet got a concussion in there as well. But that one in turn one with high limit, I mean, for those that aren't watching it, we got just an insane pile of cars here in turn one that's just right on that start of the race. So, very nasty. One of the few that actually had me worried throughout the year. And that's our first nomination for Wreck of the Year.
Second one, this one we watched live right in front of us. I think this one it just was an unfortunate turn of events, and that being the 5 car pileup in turn one at the Jim Sauter at Dells Raceway Park. If you look at the visual, it's hard to tell. There are 5 race cars in there somewhere, which is crazy to see. Um, just some of the dead impact blows and sounds that came from that was just like, ugh, just gives the heebie-jeebies a little bit because it was just there were some hard hits, and as you can see, that's the 7 of DeAngelis up on the fence, and there's a race car in there that you can't see. There is 5 cars in there, so that's the biggest one I've seen in person. So yeah, that one was wild to see, and it happened right in front of us.
Yeah, and like you said, those dead hits in the wall, that's a solid concrete wall there in turn one and two. And when they come
Yeah,
sliding up after hitting that slick of oil, I mean, it just sounded like it felt like a bomb went off as soon as they hit that wall.
and unfortunately, everyone was able to crawl out, and we're okay.
Yep.
This last one.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got to change in the audio here. So can you guys hear me good?
Yep.
Yep.
This was a, I mean, if you can see the picture here, I mean, car is absolutely destroyed. That was Ty Fredrickson, braking at Fest. Um, I forget exactly what caused it,
I don't think we ever really heard something broke is
Yep.
what ended up happening. Um,
but yeah, if you're listening and you got a chance to go look at this episode and look at the picture, um, absolutely destroyed the whole right side of the car. I mean, absolutely destroyed. Um, I think that's one that you just, again, like you said, thankful that he can get out of the car, walk away from that, um, and be okay. But um, not without being out a couple $1,000s.
the other thing that really thankfully didn't happen in that wreck is that he came back down across the track after hitting that outside wall and
Yeah.
was driver's side to the track. Um,
Yep.
and obviously with him probably being rattled after that first initial hit. Thankfully he didn't get that second one again, was able to crawl out okay and under his own power.
Yep.
So your winner for not really winner, but your finalist for wreck of the year was that high limit wreck at Eldora. Again, just shows you the dangers that sprint car racing brings, racing as a whole. Um, Wrecked a ton of race cars, drivers getting hurt. I mean that was nasty, nasty as a whole. So wreck of the year goes to the high limit race at Eldora.
this last one we got, these last couple awards here. I think we had some fun with them. Um,
We'll see. We'll see what the responses are like.
yeah, we'll see what the response is. But I can hear for those that are in attendance, people already standing up, laughing and cheering as this one comes on the big board here. Um, this one is the most wrecked equipment in 2025. Um, and we got some good nominees here, to say the least. And off with Carson Hocevar. Um, Guy has made a name for himself in the shop across NASCAR series. And it feels like at times uh, we hate using this word in racing, but I think the word that comes to mind is weapon um, with Hocevar. And whether it's his own equipment or you find yourself in front of him, he smashed a lot of shit up in 2025. Um, and so um, if he wasn't going to smash his own stuff up, he was going to say, "Watch this, I'll smash somebody else's stuff up." So, nominee number one is Carson Hocevar.
I want to take this next one.
You know you do. Go ahead.
The second nominee for most wrecked equipment on the year is the Cars Late Model Stock Series. I love the late model stocks. They have great car counts. They always have competitive fields. There's a lot going on in the car series. I think it's a great series. But man, do they wreck a ton of shit. And they usually wreck a ton of shit at the front of the field.
Yeah, it's never the guys at the back. It's always up front on restarts.
It's always guys are dumping guys for the lead, or we have a restart that, somebody gets their nose in there when they shouldn't have, and we're piling them up. It's just, it seems like every race, we're always got three, four, five cars in the wall, and these aren't cheap.
No, and I tell you what, there's a couple places that are licking their chops, and that's 5-star race car bodies up here in the state of Wisconsin because they can't hardly keep late model stock bodies in stock anymore.
I'm sure like a Bassett Wheels and everybody like that is
Yeah,
keep
yeah,
themselves too. But like it's a great, like I said, it's a great series. They put on
yeah.
great racing, but man, do they wreck a ton of stuff.
It just feels like that's the storyline with the series is somebody comes out with a smashed up race car and it's all right, we've got 6 days to put it back together.
Yep.
So I'll grab this last one. He's kind of been involved in all of these other two nominees kind of together, and that would be the fella of Connor Jones. He's gotten vacations from the truck series for intentional stuff, and he finds his way poking his nose around those cars tour races. He likes to do it in super late model too. We'll see. He's headed back to the truck series on a part-time schedule at Nice. So it'll be interesting to see what 2026 brings for Connor Jones, who again just likes to find his way into these conversations fairly frequently.
Mhm.
Yeah, and he's had his fair share of suspensions, getting parked, you
Yep.
name it. So, um, should be no surprise he finds his way into this conversation. But your
Yep.
award winner for 2025 most wrecked equipment is Cars Tour. Um, it feels like if you're looking to join a series that'll take you out of racing because it's too expensive, this is the series for you. Um, you want to join a series where you can get your shit wrecked every week and have to start over, and it becomes too expensive to do it, so you just quit doing it. Join the Cars Tour. So, um, and it's known. So hopefully, I mean, that's known across the racing world that this series smashes up way too much stuff. So, um, ultimately, we hate that because while we laugh about it, that's what drives people out of the sport. Um, is showing up and racing in a series where if it doesn't happen, you're worried about it every week.
Yep.
Stuff can get smashed up. So, hopefully they can get that cleaned up in 2026 and they are not a repeat winner.
Yep. On a brighter note, there are some fantastic racing series. Obviously, there's a ton of them out there. We want to talk about those series of the year, and we've got a handful of them up here on the screen. Um, this was a tough conversation in its own right because, again, there are a lot of great things going on racing right now. First series we want to highlight is the High Limit Racing Series. Third full-time year for them, and it just seems like they're hitting everything on the marbles. They're doing everything right. They got great car counts. Competition's always been great. Points battles have been fantastic. Um, Being able to showcase drivers that maybe haven't been able to get the spotlight in years past, to throwing some competition at the World Outlaws, and just another series that makes sprint car racing great as a whole, and that is the High Limit Series. And they're going overseas. They're hitting up Australia as well.
Yep.
I was going to say they do two things that I think stick out that make it unique. One, I mean, it's subtle, but just allowing doing the whole driver playlist thing at a race. Again, something small, but still allows a driver to showcase a little bit who they are outside of the track. Um, Also, for what it's worth, gets their name on the broadcast a little bit more. That maybe might not be um, winning every single week. And then two, you already touched on it. It feels like they just do a good job going to tracks that bring out race fans.
Hmm.
And feels like they just do it like it felt like when they came to Wisconsin, um, up in Menominee. Felt like the fans showed out. They're at 141 and even got ourselves in a little bit of conversation of PA Posse versus Wisconsin race fans. So,
Yep.
um, yeah, I think Highland does a good job just finding those tracks. I don't want to say are diamonds in the rough, but somewhat are, and allows race fans to come out and show what they are as well.
Yep.
Jumping on to another series that we've got up here with us, and this one's a little more centralized, if you'd like to call it. We have the Live for 5 Super Late Models at Dells Raceway Park. Just a 5 race series at Dells Raceway Park with Super Late Models, and man, it's a series that just they always have good car counts. The place is always packed. Track and facilities are incredible. But then on top of that, the racing is just there aren't ever the big wrecks. There aren't ever the controversy with the races. It's good, clean Midwest super late model racing. So those 5 races when they come out, they're always ones that we have circled on our calendar to be there and be attendants of those 5 races. So um yeah, just a good it's a little mini series at Dells Raceway Park, but man, do they have some good races and draw some good drivers and car counts, and again, facilities are just incredible as well.
Yep.
Kind of staying in the same neighborhood with that one, you have the ASA Midwest Tour who does visit Dells Raceway Park as well. Um 2025 was the year of counting laps and cars and positions. That title battle came down to the last race, counting cars of positions gained and what do I need to win the title, and it just the battle for the championship was just awesome. Again, it was a race of the points with guys not wrecking each other, and it was just no matter where they went, it was good racing. Yes, wrecks do happen, but with that, it was just the points battle, start to finish throughout the year, was just awesome to watch. Where guys were giving and taking, and we weren't wrecking each other for a title. It was just good, clean racing, no matter where they went, and ultimately ended up being a last race of the year. Everyone had their eyes on the 5 and the 15 in terms of where they were finishing to win the championship.
I'll let you guys keep rolling because you guys can talk about these series better than I can.
I'll uh I'll touch on the one on the lower right hand here. The USAC Racing Series. So the USAC consists of 3 different ones. The sprint cars, the midgets, and the Silver Crown. But all 3 of them are just phenomenal in their own right. And I think one of the things that really they do really well, and this sets up for something that can be really special, is their Triple Crown. Their own series never overlaps with each other. So like Justin Grant was the biggest example this year where a guy can go and run all three of their series and compete for the championships in all three series, and get their Triple Crown. That's another one where they hit, kind of the diamond in the rough type of tracks, but they hit their iconic ones, especially in the Indiana market, um, with their Indiana Sprint Weeks. Um, they've been able to do a lot of great things. It's been one of the longer running series around in the country, and it just seems like they just put on good races, and you don't know who's going to win. So the USAC series, another nomination here for Series of the Year.
Last one we've had more dialed in on this series in the last year and a half or so in terms of following them more in detail, and that'd be the Midwest Truck Series. When you look at the racing in the Midwest here, the Midwest Truck Series, they are a lot of events with the Midwest Tour, as we had mentioned. But the Midwest Truck Series is just a series of the people you're around or people you want to be with. They're people you enjoy being with, and they have great people. They run a very good event. And let's go as far as talking about the racing, right? Again, kind of following the Midwest Tour theme, that was a championship battle that at the end of the year was we were counting positions and trucks between the top two guys. And again, that battle came down to guys just a little give and a little take where we didn't have guys running each other over for a title or to gain spots to get close to a title and doing that. But that series has just been, we've mentioned they've got great truck counts. They've got guys that want to get into this series, and I think that says a ton about just their operations and how they run their shows and how they're managed, and really just it is exciting to watch them race. Being that you could technically say they are a support division for the Midwest Tour at certain points. But yeah, just a great series with great people to be around.
One of the things I want to point out real quick before we announce our winner with the Truck Series, out of their 15 races, they had 10 different winners, and at one point they went on an 8-race stretch with a different winner each week.
Yeah.
So just amazing things there going on. Actually, 9 weeks in reality. Um,
Yep.
but again, just phenomenal things that they're doing over there in the Truck Series. So we kind of hyped them up a little bit, and I think that's for reasons. Our series of the year is the Midwest Truck Series.
Yep.
Yeah, I've been able to pay a lot more attention to them over the past couple of years, and you just can't find anything like, man, I think we could be doing this better, or we could be doing this better. It's one of those things that you don't touch it because it's just fine the way that it is.
Yep. Absolutely.
All right. We're gonna get a little bit controversial here. I was giving it out unofficially throughout the year, which I was just giving it to people off the cuff, which made finding this, looking back for data points on this one, a little bit tricky. But we got Brown Suit of the Year award. And brown suit is exactly what you'd expect. Um, Needless to say, that just means let's just say the pressure gets to you sometimes, and leaves you getting out of the car with a brown suit. And so we've got three nominees here, three good ones. It feels like. And I'll go ahead here and take the first one. It's none other than the old DG2 camp, David Gravel, versus the High Limit crew. Um, and again, it just feels like I would guess we're going to get a few less brown suits now that Brad Sweet has retired, because it just felt like obviously those two series have been able to poke and prod at each other and create a little bit of a rivalry. And I want to say just kind of embrace the whole Wu Gang versus the Posse. And so, and it feels like anytime David Gravel gets up, comes to a high limit show, he gets a little bit nervous. Um, so, um, nominee number one for Brown Suit of the Year is a David Gravel versus the High Limit Crew.
I'll take this next one here. I hate to throw it on this guy, but Scott McLaughlin, um, pace laps for the Indy 500, goes and gets the car wrecked. Obviously we had the rain delay there for the beginning of that race, and still warming tires up, and the track maybe is not 100% dry, but man, you want to talk about just the worst time to wreck under the pace laps. That's the Indy 500 with a car that many people expected to be up there contending for the win later on in the evening. So, Brown Suit of the Year. I don't know what else you want to call it, but just a tough deal there for Scott McLaughlin. Uh, couldn't even start the Indy 500.
And the last one, it seems like everyone kind of puckers a little bit when these sprint cars go sailing off into one at Eldora. There's been some wicked wrecks at that place, and there's always that notorious hole in the hole or rut in one that you just hope to God they go bouncing through there. But man, that's one that gives you the heebie-jeebies every once in a while when they go bombing down into one wide open, hoping that everyone just comes out the backside.
Yep.
And I mean, that's really dangerous too, because when you start a race or the first couple laps, unless you're the lead car, you can't see much other than the back end of a sprint car directly in front of you. And the guy in front of you can see the big hole or the big rut, but that don't mean you can. So we obviously touched on it earlier. Wreck of the year was 1 and 2 at Eldora was for sprint cars. So that can be nasty and leave a lot of guys with brown suits leaving an Eldora feature. But your 2025 Brown Suit of the Year award goes to Dave Gravel versus the High Limit Crew. We touched on it. It feels like those two are always. I mean, he is the Wu Gang's pride and joy. Obviously, that is who they hang their hat on, and so when he shows up to a high limit event, everybody's out to beat him. And I think he knows that. He's embraced it. But it ultimately gets to him here and there. So DG2 wins Brown Suit of the Year. Don't know if that's spilled chocolate milk in his seat or an accident. We'll leave you guys decide what the Brown Suit of the Year is going to be. Lastly, we got two more here for you. And this is another fun one here for you. And this is Lip Service of the Year. And for reference, we just lip service is exactly what it sounds like. A lot of lip service, cutting promos, just whining, complaining, saying dumb stuff in front of a mic. And some of the nominees here we got in there, a lot of lip service and not a lot of results. Some guys, a lot of lip service, a lot of results. And I'll go ahead here and take the first one. Carson Hocevar. Lip service of the year for a couple of reasons. Feels like whenever he was smashing up equipment in 2025 and you put a microphone in front of him and feels like here's what you should say. Everybody else knows what you should say. Go right. he would go left. Just never felt like he would say the right thing at the right time. Then you can throw in there his whole Twitch streaming experience. He's always got a lot of lip service going on that, talking about stuff he either should or shouldn't be, and putting stuff out there that doesn't need to be out there. So, nominee number one for lip service of the year, Carson Hocevar.
I'll take this next one here. Denny Hamlin. Obviously, it's been very well known that he likes to throw some comments out there, whether it's I beat your favorite driver or that's just short track racing comment. But I think it really came into the limelight when we went through this lawsuit deal. And whenever there was discussions about it, he always had to chime in on it and give his side of it. A lot rougher and not as good looking comments as others. And then obviously when we were going through the trial, everything was left on the table then at that point. So definitely did not hold back on what he said, and rightfully so. But it got results with the settlement coming out of the trial. And he's a guy that can back it up though. He can go out and win races. So, but a guy that you could always bet on either getting a soundbite or getting an honest opinion on gets him as the nominee for lip service of the year, Denny Hamlin.
Speaking of a guy that likes to get results, and I think the best way to describe it is he's never wrong. I think would be the 32 of Pierce, Bobby Pierce. He's a guy that he's not afraid to say, well, we should have done this at track. He's this or he's that. And JD made it very well known when they had their scuffle, and he said, you can't really tell him much because he's always right. The guy wins races. Let's not hide that. I mean, I think when you win 38 races on the year, that comes with a certain degree of pedigree that comes along with that. But it's one of those things of it's like he's always grumbling. He's got to grumble. I can just hear the interviews. Well, yeah, it's no, we don't know, so don't worry about it. But yeah, he does a lot of winning, but sometimes it's just like, man, can we just not be happy that you won a race? Like, why do we got to grumble or go after somebody? Like, take your check, put the car in trailer, and go on to the next one. So, smooth operator gets the other one.
Yeah, and it feels like oftentimes it whether it's constructive criticism or what, it feels like at times just it's got to be negative.
Yeah.
Wins the race and he's got to complain about an invert. Wins the race and he's got to complain about the way somebody raced him. Wins the race and he's got to complain about track prep. It's just like, dude, sometimes can you just win the race, grab the check, and say something positive? But constructive criticism, complaining, we'll leave that for your interpretation. And then the last nominee here, we've talked on it, and it's head scratching. But last nominee here is Chris Rice of Colleague Racing. There isn't much other to say here than I feel like we get a lot of lip service from him. Colleague's going to do this. Colleague's going to do that. We've got this we've got this planned. We've got that planned. This is coming to Colleague. That's coming to Colleague, and a lot of lip service, and I would say minimal to zero results.
Rebel of the year winners.
I would say, summed up, a lot of bark, no bite from Chris Rice. And so your 2025 Lip Service of the Year award winner is Chris Rice. And as he would say, smile, it's good for you. So again, a lot of lip service from that camp, that team, from him. Just feels like, again, at times I just feel like they're talking about a direction and they don't even know what direction they're going. And so we've got the Cup Series, no more RCR lines. We totally shut down the Xfinity program. Now I've got the truck series coming. We've got this so-called all-star truck that's supposedly got filming going on for a seat. At some point, it's like,
Got
hey,
Dana
I
White
should,
involved. Let's just leave it at that.
yeah. And at some point, it's like, hey, maybe I should stop cutting promos and maybe focus on getting some results. Um, Feels like we're at a great point for colleague racing to do that and Chris Rice, but to be determined if we're going to do that. I have a hard time believing that this truck series debut with Ram is going to go smooth sailing. So I would expect some turbulence in year one, but leave it to him. They're on to the next best thing. And they've got grand plans up their sleeves. So keep smiling. It'll all work out.
Good for you.
And our last one here is your 2025 race of the year. We actually don't have this one determined. We thought this would be a great point to debate, to talk about, and just see, touch on a positive note. So I'll take the first one here. Brian Shirley passes Bishop on the top side to win PDC. Obviously, Brian Shirley, Illinois guy. What they went through that race felt like racing until 3 a.m., 4 a.m. Being able to take that thing down the street through the bank was a massive win for him. His first, like I said, Illinois native, beating one of the best in the business, and Brandon Shepard, and everything Shirley's been through personally and still going through. Just a massive win for him at a crown jewel event. To be able to do that was just awesome. So, nominee number one, Shirley's win at PDC.
I'll jump into this middle one here. We got the NASCAR playoff race at Kansas. I
Can't hear
mean,
you.
what?
About to say I could hear him.
Oh
Maybe
boy.
it's me.
All right. NASCAR playoff race at Kansas. Damn, what a race that was. It had a little bit of everything. It had some wrecks, it had some speed, it had some passing, it had tire strategy, it had everything, and it was just you couldn't miss a lap. That's all it comes
And
down to.
yep, and it came down to the Toyota guys giving it away to Chase Elliott.
Yep. They roughed each other up and then said, all right, Chevy, have at her. So, yeah, that was insanity start to finish.
My nomination for race of the year, really, it could be event of the year. The USAC Midgets BC39 at the dirt track of IMS. Justin Grant and Jason Persley fighting back and forth with each other for the lead and throwing slide jobs every corner. I mean, there was a video that Flow Racing put out of their battle that went on for felt like forever. I mean, that was just chef's kiss as far as just absolute madness of racing, and it carried into the second night. Justin Grant leading, having his issues after climbing one. I forget who it was, might have been Persley's tires. With Ken McIntosh getting the win in the BC39. Brian Albert, the USAC announcer, put it best. He said, "I would pay admission, walk back out, pay admission again. That's how much that race was worth."
Oh, yeah, it was insane.
So that right there was my nomination for race of the year. That dirt track at IMS, I don't know what it is, but those midgets just put on a hell of a show each year they go there.
Yep. And I think we each kind of just picked one. Do we really have a winner, or we're just rolling with one?
I think we just roll with this, right? Everybody's
Yeah.
kind of got their opinion as far as their race of the year.
I mean, the schedule had 900 and some events on it. How do you pick one?
Exactly.
So,
And there's some that maybe we couldn't watch because we were at a racetrack somewhere that we missed. And
yep. Yeah, for sure. There's kind of your three, all of different disciplines races of the year.
Maybe you there, Cam?
Well, was
Oh,
locked up
gotcha.
there for a second.
No, but no,
Um, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say just I mean overall I think 2025 again was a great year of racing. Um, both just the racing that each everybody was able to put on. But us being able to do different things as well, whether it's going to different races or checking out different things. I think 25 was just a great year, and obviously I think we all look forward to 26.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think, yeah, like you said, obviously first inaugural awards show for us, and hopefully this is something we can just continue to build on. Um, Obviously, it feels like I'm sure we've missed a race of the year contender. I'm sure we missed a wreck of the year contender, but the sheer amount of racing content these three brains consume in a year is off the charts. Um, so I wish we could have like a flow racing, um, like a watch time on a year. Like it would keep track of how much time you watch on the flow racing because I feel like we'd have like Van Gro 4 days, 20, 23 hours and 59 minutes of watch time on flow racing. And that doesn't include, obviously, you guys um, driving to and fro the racetrack and putting butts in seats and paying the price. So, um, again, ton of fun doing this award show. And I think we're going to continue to build on this and make this something bigger and better in 26. Um, it's going to start with as we go through the year, just trying to do a better job tracking our awards nominees. Because, like I said, obviously going through this, kind of hard to come up with some of these nominees just with the amount of nominees you could have and the amount of races we watch. So, any other final thoughts as we wrap up this awards show?
I was gonna say that it starts pretty early. We also just got done with Tulsa Shootout, with a bunch of your smaller programs. Walla Shootout coming up this coming weekend. Super late models back on track, and I think we'll be doing something just about every weekend right after that. Then
Yeah, and thinking ahead to next year as we kind of think about how this goes. If you have ideas and or nominees for this throughout the year, shoot them to us. More than happy to steer this ship in the direction that can make this better for those that watch and listen. So if you're thinking of something, um, shoot them on over to us, and we'll get that in our note sheet that we have shared that we can make sure that that gets noted.
Yeah. So, as always, for those that are in attendance at the awards show, we appreciate you coming. Safe travels home. For those of you that are going to watch and listen, um, whether on YouTube, Spotify, wherever you get our podcast, thank you for tuning in and listening. As always, the only way we can do this is you guys continue to like, share, and comment and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You guys are why we do this and what keeps this engine burning hot. So, um, again, thanks for tuning in to the 2025 awards show. As always, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see y'all next week for another episode of Tuesday Track Talk.